stream. Sorry we're a bit late. That was my fault. I was talking and backstage. Good to see you all. Welcome, Nene. Welcome, Dawn.
Thanks
Hello.
for having us.
Thanks for being here. So yeah, just a quick welcome to the two special guests. We have Dawn from Double D Homestead and Nene from Nene's Prepping Kitchen. Glad that you're here and good to see y'all in chat. And it seems like there's some mods there as well. So thank you for being there, everybody. And this is an unusual time. These two guests are on the East Coast, or well, more East, and the late night isn't often great. So I took the opportunity to try to invite them at an earlier time. And so this is our live stream for this week. And then next week, we'll be back with a panel of medics who've worked in a professional capacity to talk about what we've seen, what some tips and tricks and stuff on the topic of medical preparedness. So that's next week, Wednesday night. So I would love to take a moment. If Nene, could you please introduce your channel and talk a little bit about what you do on your channel?
Okay, I'm Renee is my actual name, and Nene from Nene's Prepping Kitchen, and I do videos on pantry storage, on pantry hauls, food storage and preparation, and also do try to keep up on the prices that are going higher and empty shelves in the grocery stores by doing the walkthroughs and a little bit of gardening. And you can find me on YouTube. So.
Wow, awesome. And how about you, Double D?
I do a lot of cooking from scratch, canning, and I do a little bit with the animals, not very much, mostly because I like to keep that separate. And I do my garden, and that's pretty much what I do. Oh, I do some grocery hauls, but for the pantry, but yeah, a lot of cooking from scratch and canning is my main focus.
Yeah, yep. It's amazing stuff. It's
bread looked delicious.
Yes. So our topic today is we're going to be talking about wrapping up our gardens and anything that we're planning to do to move ahead into winter. And it's kind of cool because we're all at sort of different zones, so we're at different stages probably of wrapping up our garden. Things that we're going to do for the winter. And there's also an opportunity for question and answers. For example, I emailed Dawn to ask about prepping some green pepper seeds and just making sure that I do it and save them correctly, and that she gave me some valuable information. So if you do have any questions, please go ahead and put them in caps, and we can all try to learn from each other for wrapping up our gardens. And then we also want to talk a little bit about prepping for uncertainty ahead. Do we think there might be going into a depression sort of thing? So I also wanted to quickly say hi to a few folks in chat. It's amazing you're here because it's an unusual time. Laura is here. Hello. Ark Wildman Survival, I see you there. And Uncle Al has stopped by. Creative Redundancy got the coffee emoji. So there we go. Sassy Gal Prepping, good to see you. And Angry Homesteader, love your content, great channel. I'm sure everyone here is subscribed, but if you're not, do check out Angry Homesteader. I shared her channel on my community page. Nate is here. Good to see you. Sun Owl, how's it going? I hope you get your mail from your prize soon. Mr. McBean is here as well. LG, good to see you. You have such great comments. And Bob is here. Where are you? Are you in the US or are you traveling? How's it going? Ripley, nice to see you. Hope all is well down south. Martin from Lafayette is here as well. City Girl Homestead, nice to see you. And there may be others that I missed, but we'll try to catch you later. So maybe could we start with Dawn? Will you tell us a little bit about where you're at with your garden and what you're doing outside right now?
Well, with the garden, excuse me, with the garden right now, the summer garden's done. So that's getting tilled under this week because all that nourishment will go back into the ground. And then we're breaking the fall garden. So I'll be putting out cabbage, cauliflower, broccoli, kale, carrots, a few potatoes. They're Yukon Golds. They're pretty quick and they do cool weather pretty good. And I've got to get my sweet potatoes out of the ground yet. And then I'm going to plant my hydroponics in the house with lettuce, kale, or lettuce, arugula, and spinach. So that's pretty much what's going on.
So you're doing a lot of leafy greens inside.
Yes.
And do you, because this is something we were talking about, or I saw being discussed in some live stream with Sassy Gal as well, to do with the varieties. Like, are you quite particular about what lettuce varieties you use?
For a leaf lettuce, I really like Black Seed Simpson. I just like the taste of it. It's just so good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know there was a question about the tips getting kind of yellowy or burnt and things like that. And then I know some lettuces are stronger indoors and some are weaker. And I know that generally anything smaller does better indoors. Do you find that as well?
This is my first year doing it, so
yeah.
I'll have to update you in the spring.
That's fantastic. I hope you post about it as you go, because it's a really fascinating thing, because, especially being super experienced outdoors and then moving indoors is a big change. It's cool.
It is.
How about Nene? How you were saying a little bit backstage, but can you tell us where you're at with your garden and that sort of thing?
Most of the garden is done for the year. We've gotten up the potatoes, and I think we're probably done on the peppers. And we got a few more tomatoes, but I'm probably going to have to bring them in. It's pretty cold at night and they're still green. But I do have a kind of a fluke, but it's a zucchini squash. It's probably about 5 or 6 inches long, growing. So I'm going to let him do what he's going to do. And I have a yellow banana squash too that's growing. So I'm hoping that they'll grow to maturity before snow flies.
Yeah, so with those squash, are you gonna chop them up and dehydrate them? Or are you just gonna go ahead and eat them, or what are you gonna do?
See, I don't know. I'll probably just cook them up and eat them, because I'm not gonna have a whole bunch, to work with. So.
Yep. And I see Jeannie's here. Good to see you, Jeannie. Jeannie has a channel and got into growing stuff indoors and was posting updates. So I know there were some sweet peas and lettuce and stuff using some indoor grow lights. So that was really interesting to watch the progress of that. And Heroic Prepper, good to see you. Been a while. Nice to see you. So, Dawn, what were some successes you had in your growing season this year?
My cucumbers did well. My potatoes did well. And it's been a real tough growing year. I'm not going to lie. It's been a tough year. That was my best two.
And sorry, I should have mentioned, I know you're in Kentucky, right? So can you tell people a little bit about what it's like in Kentucky for growing food?
Well, we had the drought this year, so my corn, I got 6 small ears of corn off my entire corn crop. That was it. And my tomatoes literally dry rotted on the vine. It's been a tough growing year. But I did manage to get some tomatoes up. Normally, a normal year, I can get up about 100 jars of green beans, close to 100 jars of tomatoes, and usually about 50 jars of corn. And that just didn't happen this year. So
yeah, my cucumbers didn't make it this year, and my green onions didn't make it. There's something else. Oh, my peas didn't make it. Green beans didn't make it. So yeah, it was really hit and miss.
So City Girl Homestead is saying I got bottom rot, but we got rid of it and got tons canned. A lot of our peppers did well. Everything else a bust well. Some potatoes, but new plans for next year, so it will get better. So and Nene, you're in Michigan, right? So
Yeah.
what's it been like there for climate this year?
Well, climate in the morning, we're waking up to 38 to 42. So it's chilly mornings, and then like today's high is only going to be around 52, I think. So yeah, it's definitely cooling down.
Yeah. Well, up here, the big issue, so we are in, you guys know this, but we're in northern British Columbia off the Alaska
Mm,
Highway, so quite north. So there's certain things that has going for it, like you get lots of light, but we only get one. Uh, so where we were before down south, you could have two crops of most things, but up here you get
mm,
one. It's a 100-day growing season. And this year we moved. We've lived up here before, but we're back, and we moved like halfway through the summer, so there was it really disrupted things. But the general gist of up here was there wasn't enough heat for things
mm.
generally. So things would start growing, and they would just stop. Like a squash would start, and then it just wouldn't get big. So that was definitely, disappointing because what are you gonna do? You just can't make it more
Yeah.
warm.
Hmm.
And LG is saying, I really enjoyed hearing the journey, how people learn, problem solve. Thanks for a little update, Sassy Gal, prepping with adjusting your light. Yeah, because Sassy Gal's indoor lettuce was having issues around the edges of the lettuce, but I guess the light might have been too close. See, these are the little tiny things that change the outcome completely. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead, please.
Mm. And so, sorry about that. Yeah, I was kind of thinking about maybe having growing something inside, you know, whether it be aquaponics or or herbs or something, just so I have, a year-round cycle of growing something indoors.
Yeah. No, that sounds like a plan. Angry Homesteader says, are you permanently living at your bug out? Yeah, yes, we're back up here. We've been up here before. In 2019 was most recently, and we're fully here now. So thank you for the question. Dawn, what is your setup for your indoor? Are you using soil or no soil?
I have 3 hydroponic systems I'm using. I do 10 pods and a 12 pod. I really like the 12 pod one better. It's got a built-in fan, and it
Yep,
just grows better plants.
yep.
So
So
I
what do
do
you think? Sorry, go ahead.
I do have a tomato plant started back here behind me. I'm going to try it in a pot, and I got a timer and another grow light. So I'm going to try a tomato over the winter. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it goes.
So so did you bring that in from outside, the
No, I
tomato
started
plant?
it from a seed.
Yeah, that's cool. Because yeah, Uncle Al was saying how when you bring stuff in from outside, you have to be careful about the bugs. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think there's different perspectives of, if you're a purist and you're only inside, everything's inside and everything's outside, or if you kind of go back and forth, it's probably dependent on people's personalities of it as well.
Mhm.
I'm always trying to learn something new.
Yeah,
Me too.
yeah. Nene, did you do any grow bags this year? I can't remember.
Yeah, I started out with grow bags, and the ones that I bought, I bought them at the Dollar Tree, and they didn't do so well. So I went from the grow bags because they started wanting to rip, and so I took them out of the grow bags, and when we actually had real estate, when we took down our front porch, it gave us extra real estate. So I took the plants that were in the grow bags and put them in the ground. So, and that's where they grew the rest of the year. But in the process of that, my green beans died and my peas died. And yeah, well, I think it was between that and actually it was still too cold out when yeah. So
Yeah,
live
that's
and
it.
learn, got to work around the weather. And, when you live in the northern regions, yeah, you really got to keep an eye on the weather.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Sassy Gal is asking, I believe, is asking Dawn, what kind of tomato are you growing in your hydroponic garden?
A purple Cherokee.
Oh, and what's that one like for size?
It's a good sandwich tomato about
Oh,
this big. Mm-hmm.
oh
So
Nice.
wow.
yeah,
And Uncle Al is saying try cherry tomatoes because I know tomatoes often are the smaller ones do better inside.
Mm.
But the, just maybe more for the beginner and the smaller ones do good. If you're experienced like you are, Don, I'm sure they'll be fine. Because I find indoors is very odd because it's often hard to tell if things need more water or if they're getting too much water. It's very hard to tell. One thing I notice indoor growing is that too much light is a problem. I talked about this before, but I'm sort of thinking, okay, I got the lights, I can have them on all the time, but that is, you've really got to keep it on a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
LG has a question regarding bugs. I grew peppermint a few years ago indoors in a flower pot. They got little bugs. I tried to spray with diluted Castile soap, but it didn't help. What else could I have done?
I'm a big Seven Dust fan. I know it's not organic, but you know me, I like my Seven Dust. Wheat flour. Wheat flour, if the plant's damp, wheat flour helps too. I do know that. I've done that. Whole wheat flour.
Interesting.
I think that the big question too is are the bugs soft-bodied or hard-bodied? That's the big question. Because if they're soft-bodied like aphids, something like Safer's works, but if they're hard-bodied, you've got to use something else. um, yeah, there's so much great stuff happening in the chat right now. City Girl Homestead, I did all my potatoes in laundry baskets from the Dollar Tree and it worked great. Well, that's the thing. I've really learned that any vessel can work for growing stuff pretty much, as long as it has a way for the water to get out. Do you
Yeah,
guys
I'll
have
have to
any?
try the baskets from there.
Mhm. Just seeing Texas Surplus Pro, thanks for stopping in. And I see that Apartment Prepper stopped in to say hello, which is amazing. I know that she's on the move, she's moving. So thanks for taking a moment and saying hello. LG, question, how do you use the wheat flour? And I think they were soft-bodied bugs.
You miss the plant if it's indoors because it's not going to have dew on it. You mix the plant with water and just sprinkle it on there, and it basically goos up the bugs.
Yeah. Yeah. I do like that that safer spray, and it is a soap-based spray that takes down. Yeah, if they're soft body, they're probably aphids, and they work by sucking the basically the not the sap, but whatever it is out of the plant, right? And then and then the plant just starts to kind of fall over. Yeah, that's great. So I was gonna ask you guys what were some of the challenges, but it's of growing this year, but it sounds like it's already sort of coming out. I mean, at Dawn, you guys had quite a bit of drought and Nene, the temperature. Any other challenges you want to mention? Was it hard to find any supplies you needed?
Not for
It
me, it
wasn't.
wasn't.
No, not for me either.
And we stocked up on fertilizer last year, so we got like 3 years worth of fertilizer for our garden. So we were set there, and I had all my seeds already, and I haven't had any issues getting stuff this year so far. So
Yeah.
That's great. So for either of you guys, how many of your seeds do you buy versus how many you save from the previous year?
This is my first year of actually saving the seeds from something that I grew. So I've saved the pepper seeds and got those put away for next year. And hopefully I'll have to talk to Dawn after the show and find out if I did it correctly.
Well, wait, on that note, since there's people listening,
Okay.
Don, how would you do it? How would you do it correctly?
Yeah,
do
tell
which
us all.
one? The save your cucumber seeds,
Pepper seeds.
pepper seed. I just scrape them out and put them on a paper towel and dry them real good. You can rinse them first if you want, if they're messy. But generally, the pepper seeds come out pretty clean. So
Yeah.
and I just dry them out on a paper towel.
Okay, yeah, I put them on a coffee filter and put them on top of the fridge, and
Yeah, they'll be
they
fine.
should be, yeah. So I got quite a few of them for next year, and I haven't done any, or did I do tomato seeds? Yeah, I did do some tomato seeds too, the same way. So.
So Sassy Gal is wondering, do you guys have a composting bin or something equivalent?
I don't.
I do. We have a compost. We have one of them tumblers, but we also have a dirt pile that part of it gets stuff buried in it. Like, when we killed all the chickens and, stuff like that, that all gets buried in there and gets mixed up all the time with the tractor.
Mm.
So.
Yeah, that's great. We have a composting pile, and hopefully next year we'll have a bin. And sorry, Angry Homesteader, if you're still here, will you tell us what you have? And definitely have to get you up here if you're willing one of these days to find out more about the cool stuff you guys do. Oh, I had a question. Okay, somebody in a side chat somewhere was talking about this, and I won't mention any names because it's a controversial topic. Do you ever save seeds? I know it's a spicy topic. Do you ever save seeds, either of you, from something that's non-heirloom?
Yeah.
I generally plant all heirloom.
Yep.
I try to stick strictly to heirloom.
Yep. So anything you're collecting is heirloom, and you just keep that going.
Yeah. It's just easier for me that
I
way.
probably should be doing heirloom, but they're not. So
I will say most of the seeds you get at the Dollar Tree, if you look at them, most of them are heirloom.
Yep.
So I mean, a lot of people buy
yeah.
Dollar Tree seeds in the spring, and they're pretty much heirloom seeds. So
Yeah, that's pretty much all I use. So I remember reading that too on them. So
Yep.
we'll find out next year how they do.
Yep. Yeah, we have seeds that were from the big heavy hitter seeds that I have are things like dill, arugula, spinach, and cilantro, and those are ones I kind of always do. And of course, we all know how easy dill is. It's like you have to try to not make those seeds if you didn't want dill seeds. But I brought those from the previous location where it was 2 crops per year, and just obvious. And now they're in our new location, and they're all going to be confused because they've got the genetics of the previous zone. They're going to be like, "What's going on?" But I will transition to the local seeds for sure.
something I do to collect my broccoli and cauliflower seeds and cabbage seeds is old pantyhose. I tie them around the flower so that when it makes the seeds, I've still got them in there, and I don't get the worms, the green worms in it. Because you know about the green worms, Van City.
That's a good
And
idea, Don.
yeah, I save old pantyhose. They're handy.
Can we just talk about the green worms for a minute?
Sure.
Green worms for a second.
I can't hear you.
I can't hear.
In the
Can't hear
broccoli
you, baby.
family. You can't hear me?
You're back.
I'm back. Sorry about that. There's a chance that someone out there is growing a brassica and doesn't know about the green, the green worms. Since you're laughing, you know what I'm talking about. What, Don? Tell us about them. What do you do to keep them away?
I try and keep my stuff in the cold weather so that I don't have to deal with them. Because when it gets warm and you see the little cabbage moths around, you're going to have the green worms.
Yeah.
And like I said, 7 dust is what I use on them if I catch them in time, because they eat your plants pretty quick.
Mm.
Yeah.
I bet that's what was eating mine.
Yeah. Well, they're the exact same color as broccoli, and I was reading some discussion somewhere about people talking about, soak it in. Obviously, you can do like vinegar and I think baking soda and different soaks that you put the broccoli in for a while, but that doesn't get rid of them. Or I've never had it get rid of them. The worms are just hiding in there, and anyone who doesn't grow these things, they're big. They're like this big. And they're just coiled up in the broccoli, and you could soak them and think you're good to go, and they're still in there. And they terrify me. Just, so anyone who's growing anything in the brassica family, so kale, cabbage, any of that stuff, those cabbage worms come from the little white, happy little butterflies. They're moths that are going around. They look all happy and they land on your stuff. Do you ever use the netting, or you just don't need to, Dom, because of the time of year you do it?
I usually don't put anything over them because, like I said, I try and do them early in the spring, and then like now it's cooled off, the moths are gone. So I can get my kale and stuff out and feel confident I'm not eating the worms.
Yeah. Yeah, they're oh, we've got some comments here. So, Sassy Gal, I put broccoli in a Ziploc bag and in the fridge when I get home. Oh, the green worms come out of the broccoli. Okay, Sassy Gal, where do you go from there? Like, do you anyway? That's hilarious. They come out. All right. Well, that's a new one. That's a new one for me. Uncle Al, yellow sticky traps, bio sprays. And Texas Surplus Pro, who is just such a great channel and a good friend, going straight tropical now. Bananas, local grapes, chaya, and Okinawa spinach for me now. Because you're in Florida. Are you in Florida now? Anyway, we don't talk about locations so much, but obviously, somewhere warm, of course. And Angry Homesteader has a pile of compost. Very cool. Very cool. So I'm just seeing if there's any other questions. Anybody who came in and joined us, lucky to have these two wonderful guests and friends. We've been in touch since well, I know since I started on YouTube, we've all been in touch. And this is our live stream for the week. It's normally on Wednesday evenings, but this week it's at a time that's a bit more convenient for my East Coast friends. Oh no! Texas surf also. I've never run into those green worms unless I've eaten them by accident.
We'll just leave that there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be running out checking something.
Thank God it's after lunchtime here.
Daniel, good to see you, Daniel. Has anyone ever tried diet? You know the word. I'm sorry, having a hard time.
I have. I sprinkled it on my garden when I was having something to eat it. So,
Don, anything to say to that one?
I haven't had very much luck with that.
yeah, I don't think I did either because it still had my plant still was getting chewed on. So, but I did try it.
So, Sassy Gal, has anyone tried the hot salt water bath? I have, and I think there's air pockets inside the broccoli, and they were still alive after that. So every time I
Oh,
see that discussed, yeah, unless you cut the broccoli into really small, like if you were to just stick the whole floret or the whole head into the water, they can still be protected way inside. Have you
wow.
had anyone had luck with that?
Hit or miss.
Yeah, hit or miss. I don't want to take my chances. Um, Uncle Al, extra protein. Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Just cover a lot of cheese over it. You'll never know.
Yeah. Somehow the amount of people in chat has dropped significantly. No, I'm just kidding. There's still some funny people here. So okay, so the topic of will you be growing anything into the winter? We already sort of talked a little bit about that. And Dawn, you're in a climate that you can grow some things in the winter, right?
I'm sorry, I have a fly in here today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm gonna put my fall garden out, which would be my cold weather crops, the cabbage, cauliflower, etc. And like if a little frost comes or something, it won't hurt it. I mean, I do it every year, and it might get a light frost on it, but if it gets a heavy frost, I literally take clothespins outside and pull my cabbage leaves and broccoli leaves and everything up and pinch them close for the night, and then in the morning open them back up, and it works for me.
That's super
Cool.
cool. And I know that the cold weather can make their flavor better too, can it?
Yes,
Yeah.
much milder.
Hmm. And then, so Nene, what about for you? Will you be mostly purchasing stuff or using things you've already put
Yeah.
away?
Um, I probably am going to be purchasing more. Because like I say, I didn't get enough to actually, can anything out of my garden. There wasn't enough to even pull a canner out for that. So I'll probably just be using what's on my pantry shelf and, replenishing it up.
Yeah. Angry Homesteader, do you want to do a live together one of these days? Yes, please. I've been meaning to email you because absolutely, I mean, so much knowledge there. I've been trying to catch up. Angry Homesteader and I were on a recent live stream, and since then I have subscribed to her channel and been watching the videos, but I need to go back and to learn more from the previous videos. But absolutely, I'm going to email you one of these days for sure. Um, so, okay, so anyone who is in a place that can't grow outside in the winter, and we are that place because it gets minus 20, minus 30 Celsius easily, lots of snow. So we've got a whole bunch of stuff getting put away. And when people put stuff away to overwinter, do you water it first or not? Because I've heard different viewpoints about that when you put stuff to sort of hibernate, like strawberries or blueberries or
I mulch mine.
yeah, yeah, you mulch yours. And what mulch do you use?
Whatever's on sale at the
Yeah,
food store.
yeah, yeah, right on. Cool. So that's no, but that's a good answer too because it's the mulch can be flexible, right? It doesn't a person doesn't have to hunt for one specific thing.
Well, I break leaves and use those before.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Canadian Cabin Girl is here. She's been on sabbatical. She's a biology researcher in Ontario. So thanks for stopping in. And Bush Doctor Survival's here. Hey, great channel with those daily survival tips, short videos is really, really cool stuff. So if somebody wanted to grow indoors for the winter, there's sort of two ways you go about it, right? You go the hydroponic pod route, or you can grow things in soil, which is what I'm doing with grow lights. How did you choose the way that you're doing it, Dawn?
I just wanted to try it for something different. My son
Yeah.
for years has been trying to get me to do aquaponics with the fish and set a big thing up in the garage. And I'm like, I've never done anything like this. Let me learn a little bit at a time. So I'm doing the hydroponics. I'm going to try that for a couple years and see how I do. And maybe I'll graduate to fish. I don't know.
Wow,
I'd
that's
rather just
another.
go to the pond back here behind the house and catch fish, but you know.
So what do you catch back there?
Catfish and bluegill mostly.
Ooh,
It's
Very
mostly
nice.
what we stock it with.
Very nice.
yeah. Have to do a cooking on some catfish, Don.
I'm hoping to go cooking next year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Daniel's mentioning stock up on Mylar bags, things will last a lot longer. Yeah, we've got some Mylar bags, and the recent ones I just ordered, they came with their own oxygen absorbers. I didn't have to get it separately. Do you guys use Mylar bags at all?
I do.
Yeah.
Yep.
What do
Yeah, I've
you?
been putting. Yeah, I use the silver ones. Whatever size. I end up getting a whole bunch different sizes, and they came with the oxygen absorbers, and so I still have quite a few left that I haven't had to order any. So you didn't have any issues getting any, Dan City?
No, I didn't. How about you, Dawn?
I don't really use a whole lot of Mylar. I do more of the, like when I do rice and everything like that, flour and all that, I put it in paper bags and then I put it in a vacuum seal bag, vacuum seal it, and put it in a tote.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Yeah.
have. Mark could kill me if I put more buckets back in there in the pantry room.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I have an entire
So,
bedroom dedicated to the pantry, and he's already like, it's full. And I'm like, it's full enough. It's never full enough.
Yeah, I'm taking over other people's area, and they're.
so for anybody who hasn't, I know who's in the chat, and most of these people are super super experienced, so it might not apply to them. But for things like if longer term storage of rice and flour and stuff, how do you prevent like the bugs?
I put my bags in the freezer for like 3 days. The flour and the the rice, the beans. I put all those in the freezer. Excuse me, I'll be right back. I got to.
That's okay.
I have someone at the door. Hold on just a second.
I do the same thing. I put mine in the freezer for 3 to 5 days and then pull it out for a few days and let it get to room temperature and then do the vacuum sealing with it. I've never had an issue with it.
Yeah, cool. And Sassy Gal says she uses bay leaves. Bay leaves. And it's nice to see you, Fuzzed Fork 8. I haven't seen you in chat before, but it's nice to see you here. And it says that you've started prepping in 1977. That's amazing.
Wow.
Yes, Bush Doctor, there was a dog barking in my lives before, but I've sort of he's calming down because he's getting to be a bit older. He sprained his knee ligament the other week, and then I sprained my wrist carrying him because he was on bed rest. So one thing for prepping is good to think through all the scenarios of if you've got a over 50-pound dog on bed rest, how that's all going to work out. Okay, so Bush Doctor had also brought up something interesting here. Has anybody on the panel done indoor tent growing? I'm looking to experiment with that this winter.
I haven't.
I do have a grow tent, and I was going to put the tomato in it because my son got me one for my birthday. Was it last year or the year before? And I haven't used it yet. So I was going to put the grow tent up and try the tomato in that when I transplant it because it reflects the light and everything. So maybe it'd do well. I don't know. So I'm going to learn. Told to learn.
Yeah. A lot of it we do learn along the way, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I do a lot of indoor growing all year round, except right now we've got a grow room, which is going to be an exciting thing to film because we've got a special space where we're like fully setting it up with soil and indoor beds and like a whole operation. Next to, if anyone's seen, we put up videos of a pantry we're building. Next to
Mhm.
that, there's going to be a food growing room. It's not in a tent per se, but it's underground, and it should be kind of interesting.
That
Yeah.
sounds very interesting.
Yeah.
It'll
Yeah.
be a bit of an experiment. We'll see, and that's why choosing the varieties to grow indoors is important because it's also bang for your buck, right? Because things take up real estate, and lettuce is great, as of course as you know, because you do it, Don, because it grows and you can pick it and it keeps going. Whereas things, for example, radishes, you spend weeks waiting for those radishes, and they could take up a section, and then they're gone, and you eat them really quickly in one salad.
Mhm.
So Jeannie has a suggestion, putting the Mylar survival blankets on the walls to reflect light too. That's a great idea, Jeannie. Yeah,
I
that's a
have done
really,
that.
yeah. And it sounds like Sassy Gal's mentioning Family Man Prepper will be doing indoor gardening this season too. And it's cool, right? Because in places where you can't do it outside, it's also, I feel like, a little bit insulated from anything that happens in the environment. If you had something really strange going on, you can still have some fresh greens, even if it's just herbs to add a little bit of freshness to whatever preserved food you have. Yeah.
But sometimes that break in the winter, that couple months I get off, like January and February, sometimes that's kind of nice.
Yes. 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 So we wanted to ask you guys sort of a more of a serious question, but are you guys worried about going into a depression?
I think that we probably are going into a depression. Worried. I try not to worry about a lot of things, you know, because worrying can never do anyone any good. But you know, being prepared, you know, in case there is a depression, because it is looking like we possibly could be going into one, you know. So to worry, you know, I'm not going to say I'm worrying about it. Do I think we're going to see a recession? A great possibility.
Yeah, Uncle Al's saying careful with the word because it probably could make the
Okay.
video. No,
Okay.
I'm the one who said
Yeah.
it, so it's all good. But anyways, that thing. How about you, Don? Is it something on your mind at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Especially if we go to a big conflict over, like number 3. Yeah, that could very well be
Hmm.
along with rationing, just like they did before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
So, So, because you guys are both preparedness-minded individuals, are you doing anything different with that possibility, or are you just doing what you're already doing?
Uh, well, I think that, it's probably maybe pushing me more to, to prepare more. Just having that in the back, that whole thought in the back of my head that that could be a possibility, and trying to figure out, okay, well, if it ends up going that way, you know, um, there's going to be a lot more, cooking from scratch. Uh, people made things back during that era, that would stretch out for their families. They would do, just foods that they had to make stretch out. And I think stretching our meals today, if that was to happen, we would have to learn to stretch our meals out further. And, back then they would have potlucks, and where everyone would come together and have a potluck, a lot of churches, they would have the church lady potlucks, but that were people, taking what they had, putting it together to feed a crowd, and we might see more of that happening, if we were to have, that happen in our era of time as well.
Yes. I'm just seeing that Uncle Oz says Canada YouTube fined up to $2,000 to creators in Canada. Okay, well I don't know what that's
Oh,
about,
wow.
but I'll have to see. Oh, hi, the Big Prep. Hi, Cynthia. Good to see you. Well, okay, so that reminds me. So Cynthia, the Big Prep is a great channel for preparing food for this type of scenario. And these two guests are channels also that show you things you can make with your preps to stretch out your meals. And I know a lot of people in the chat are already preparedness minded. If there's anyone who's new to it, go ahead and subscribe to these channels, Nene's Prepping Kitchen and Double D Homestead, and cruise the videos and um, start practicing making some of the foods there, to stretch out to more people using the stuff that you already have stored up with ingredients that are accessible, and get used to making that stuff because it will just be that much easier.
Right. Yep. Making homemade bread, I mean, so many different things we can make, from scratch. But, it's easier to go to the store and grab it, when we could have made it at home. So,
I'm teaching myself how to make pasta. Just, because, well, with the Great Depression, I think about, what was rationed. So I'm trying to really stock up on that. I mean, could you imagine
right.
just, you get 1 cup of flour to get through the week.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And that's the way it was, I mean, you got what you got, and you had to really, stretch it out. And so, yeah, or make flour if you had, your wheat berries.
Acorn flour.
Acorn flour. Yeah. 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 I
And
mean,
no, go ahead.
have you
Sorry,
ever
Ed.
made?
No, they generally, I used to, well, I didn't raise any hogs this year, but most years I rake them up and feed them to the hogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it can be done. We do have a grinder, but.
Yeah. I haven't got the actual grinder for greens. I mean, I have a meat grinder, so I could probably, make it work if I had to get a little tiny bit at a time. But hey,
We've got one. It's an antique. It's huge. But it still works.
But
Probably works
yeah, I
great.
need to get some wheat berries though. Haven't done that one yet.
If anybody, yeah, I've been stocking up wheat berries because I mean they can be used for sort of a simple cereal as well.
Yeah.
So they have in Western Canada. I have been able to locate them fairly easily.
Mm.
So if anybody has any questions regarding anything, but in particular wrapping up the garden for the season, ideas for growing indoors, please go ahead and put the questions in capitals. It's a little bit easier. I'm trying to watch the chat as well. And then go ahead and subscribe to these two channels. It's been very appreciated. I think Sassy Gal, the mod, who's also a great channel, has dropped links, and the links are also in the description box. And getting used to making more food for anyone who's new to the preparedness type of cooking. Um, So we've got some feedback here from Fuzz Fork. Children get tired of the same old food. Raised 3 kids by myself, making instant potatoes, adding some food coloring. So they got orange potatoes. Yeah, that's an idea.
Hey, I'll try that with my grandkids.
Yeah, yeah. That's
It can be,
all.
yeah, orange potatoes for, Halloween.
Yeah. Any way to make it a little more interesting. I see Ark is on the go, so he says have a great day. Thanks for being here. Have a great day to you as well. Even cookie cutters to cut a sandwich into a unique shape or anything just to keep the spirits up, because keeping the spirits up is going to go a long way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Um, and then a few other videos lately. Prepping by Faith put out that video of things, a reminder of preps to buy now, if possible. I believe things like sugar and stuff.
Mhm.
That was a really good video that came out. And Cold War Prepper has been putting out his videos about recipes for and food planning for stocking food. That's a good channel as well to follow.
Mhm.
Um, and Bush Doctor Survival is saying his son only eats ramen with eggs.
Hmm.
See, people like ramen. They do.
Yeah.
I have a little bit
Yeah.
of putback.
Yes. And Daniel is talking about raw honey for food and medical uses. Where do you guys get your honey? Do you buy it at the store or farmer's market, or what do you do?
Well, my husband uh, knows someone, good friend of his, and he gets the raw honey in 5-gallon buckets, and he actually gives us like a quart of it, and that stuff lasts for a long time. It was really good, raw honey.
I get mine from the local feed store, so it's local honey, and they sell the raw honey, and it's pretty
Mhm.
affordable, so I buy it from them.
Okay, well that's cool. And LG has a question. What are your thoughts on sprouts? Do you find that it's worth to grow them, and if so, what kinds? So I'll start with an answer on that. I don't grow sprouts because I worry a little bit about the rare health concerns. Some people don't worry about it, and that's cool. But instead of sprouts, I do microgreens. They're all different varieties. You can buy like mix packs or specific varieties, and the only thing with those is washing them really well, but they are to be eaten raw because if you cook them they shrink down to pretty much nothing. I'd pass the question on maybe to Don. What are your thoughts on sprouts?
I don't grow them.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right.
I don't either.
Yeah. Well, if
Excuse me.
anybody does, and you want to put in the comment, we'll read out your feedback about sprouts. Um, Yeah, and then bush doctor survival. What I learned from my time in Africa. You'd be surprised what you eat when options are limited. Yes, absolutely. I've got some pictures of stuff that Mr. VP's eaten working in China, like brains and all sorts of stuff. I was gonna post some of the pictures, but I actually think there'd need to be a warning because people would be so. Some people would be shocked. I mean, a lot of, or in Nepal, if it's from an animal, it's meat, but in our culture, it's got to be like certain parts of the animal. It's interesting. What else do we have here? Vegetable shortening. Does anyone? I mean, I do vegetable shortening. Do you guys do it?
Yeah, I do.
Yes. Also do lard.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, creative redundancy. This chat is sprouting my interest in some of these topics. You're so funny. CR is so funny. So I guess this was going to be a shorter one, but we're still going. We'll have to wrap it up soon though, so we can all get back to our tasks. Is there anything you guys can add that's on your radar for prepping over the next several months?
Mm, we'll say firewood.
Yeah.
just to have now we're not hooked up to wood heat right now, but we did get a wood stove and we are getting it prepared, so I want to be backed up on a little bit of wood, for an emergency, if we didn't have any gas, whatever happened, the gas got shut down for whatever reason, um, just that we could have that wood, for a backup. Because it
We've
gets
got
too cold in Michigan not to have heat. Yeah.
we've got a wood stove out in the garage. And
Yep.
then we have one we can throw in this house if we need to. I don't really want
Yeah.
to put it in here because this is a brand new house.
Yeah.
And but I also have a propane stove for backup. I have a
Mm.
propane fireplace that's ventless that we can throw in here if we need to. So
Yeah.
I've got that for backup heat if I need it. But in worst case scenario, we can put wood in here.
Mhm.
And we have a
Yeah.
lot of firewood put up because we do use it every year. So
Yeah, that's a good point. So, bush doctor survival. Here's a tip: we have a pallet company next town over, buying scrap cutoffs, a whole dump truck for $100 US.
hey,
Local
Yeah, we used
pallet
to get
company.
that. Yeah, we used to do that back in the day when all we heated with was wood. We would get a dump load of that type of wood right there, dumped off, and it was a lot cheaper.
Hmm.
well, we get a lot of free firewood. Like this summer alone, Mark and his buddies went and cut 20 trees off his brother's place.
Mm.
And they got that split up and everybody put it away and everything. And then got
Yeah.
another buddy that works at a cabinet shop. So this is kiln drying lumber for kindling. Stuff is great, and he brings it to us
Nice.
all the time because they just throw it out in a dumpster. So
Hey, yeah.
yeah, it's really great kindling.
Yeah, because without good kindling, that's the key right there. Having good kindling start a fire.
Yes.
Hi, Cardman Sales. Thanks for dropping in. It's really neat to see different people. Well, I always love the friends that I see, but because this is a different time, I think other people are available. So it's nice to see some new people in the chat. We have gas fireplace and wood burning fireplace. Posted a video. We've got a few cords of dried chopped wood, but we need a hydraulic splitter, and we're gonna split the rest. Um, we're gonna split the rest of the wood soon, but at least it's dry. I'm from Vernon. Well, we're in British Columbia too, so that's cool. If you're in Vernon, BC, very cool. Good to see you. We've got two Americans and one Canadian on the panel today. Awesome. So yeah, definitely anyone who hasn't checked out these two channels, please do. And then can you, as we wrap up, can you give us a hint about what videos are coming down in the future?
Well, on mine, I am probably going to be doing some canning here shortly. um, and I want to get some meat put back, and so I'm going to be doing some canning and definitely keeping the pantry shelf stocked, you know. So, and I need to do some more like pantry cooking videos. So I know I have an apple pie I got to be getting made here pretty quick because my kid went over and uh, picked some wild apples and he's still waiting on that pie. So
I'm going to be doing definitely some more canning videos coming up because our beef went to the butcher shop yesterday, so I have to make freezer room. So I got about 100 pounds of meat I got to can up. I'm sure there'll be a video in there about that somewhere. And then, of course, more cooking and yeah, things like that to be going on. It's going to be very busy here the next few days.
yeah.
So, and possibly 2 refugees from the hurricane are headed this way. They're supposed to be. So.
Yeah, that hurricane. Wow.
Yeah, my daughter and
I
my
know
granddaughter
people.
are on their way up.
Yeah, yeah, I know you're. Yeah, I have a brother down there in Florida too. So hopefully everyone down there is safe.
Yeah, prayers for everyone in the path of that
Prayers.
storm. It's a doozy. It's a doozy.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so Cardman Sales definitely aware of that situation. Just on YouTube, we have to be, if we talk about some of that stuff, unfortunately, the video will get taken down, unfortunately. It's not a platform that we can use, certain situations. But yeah, definitely, absolutely aware of that situation. There was a live panel recently. It was myself, Angry Homesteader on Angry Preppers channel, and we talked a little bit about that and gave our opinions about that. This live stream's topic is about wrapping up our gardens and prepping for moving gardens from outside inside for the winter. So it's sort of a more specific topic in our live stream today. And, you know, in terms of the hydraulic splitter, we have so much on the go here. For example, we have to put in a new fence we're for a sheep fence, and someone was saying, well, you know, it's easy to build a fence. Why don't you just build a fence? But you know, Mr. VP grew up large scale farming in England and, you know, massive farming or on the cattle stations in Australia where there's 1 million cows on the cattle station and very, very proficient at fencing. But sometimes when you've got winter coming, is where we are located, when you have the snow is going to be here in a few weeks, we need to get that fence in. So we need to get some help to put the fence in based on time for what we're doing. So we can't always, we sometimes need to do it in a different way just to get it done. We've got Daniel saying iron skillet's the best investment you can make, healthy and safe, lasts forever. Yeah,
I'll agree.
right on. Right on, right on. Cool. Okay. Is there anything you guys both want to say? In
I just want to
closing.
say thank you to having us on today and everyone that dropped in here to visit with us today. What a great day. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having Evans and everyone that's popped in here and commented, and yeah, really appreciate it. So just keep on prepping, guys, and
Yep.
you know, get your stuff ready for winter time that's coming. You know, and because I know for here, you know, once that snow hits, boy, it don't stop, and you want to make sure you've got gotten what you need to do before it comes done.
So, Cardman has lots to say. Yeah, it would be great to repurpose pallets, but in our most recent video, um, you'll see in our most recent video, we had to redo a septic field and the whole area had to be leveled and the septic field itself had to be redone and the fence needs to go around the septic pond, and it's a specific type of fence that needs to be put up in order to keep out sheep. So I mean, that we're on a massive place with all sorts of fencing, and it's not just any old fence we need. We need one that specifically keeps things out of a septic, because we're off grid. Other than we do have electricity, but otherwise we're off grid. So it's a special circumstance. Let's just say. Okay. Oh, there's some puns coming in. Okay, yeah. Anyway, any other final notes? No.
Just keep
Yep.
stacking it up, y'all.
Yep.
And if something don't work, try something else. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Great. Well, appreciate each and every one of you guys for taking your time. I know it's prime time to get stuff done here in the daytime. We're usually on Wednesday nights. We'll be back next week with a panel of medics that have worked in a professional capacity to talk about medical preps and you know how to be more efficient in that way. And yeah, it's definitely appreciated that you're all here, and check out these two really great channels. And with that, I think we are going to head out. Bye,
Bye, everybody.
everybody.
Bye, guys.